CGTN, China Global Television Network.
Multinational companies are essential players in China's economic landscape. They have experienced more than 40 years of rapid and robust growth of the country. And now, as the pandemic and geopolitical challenges batter the world economy, how do multinationals view China's business dynamics? Is the country still as attractive as ever?
There is not a second China. So they are here because it's one of the most important economy of the world.
A market of 1.4 billion people is not the only advantage China offers multinational companies.
China is already the source of innovation, not only do the business here, but also innovation here.
Chinese enterprise want to move up a value chain for more business opportunity in China.
In what ways can China assist these companies to grow more?
World-class universities, the students coming out simply because of its scale and its quality drive the innovation in another level.
In this week's BizTalk, we'll focus on multinational companies in China to find out their expansion strategies and learn how confident they are about the Chinese market. Only on BizTalk, only on CGTN. This is a special edition of Taking the Pulse of China's economy. And today we zoom in on multinational companies in China. I'm Lily Lu. We'll take a look at foreign businesses in China. During the first 5 months of year 2022, China received $47.68 billion in foreign capital from major foreign funded projects. That number is 40% up from year 2021. So as a bevy of global firms speeding up their business expansion plans in China, does it show an unchanged confidence in the Chinese market and their long-term business prospects in China? How do they plan to ride out the difficulties and uncertainties, and what kind of support they would seek from authorities? Joining me today are Mr. William Yu, President of Honeywell China. Welcome. Mr. Enrico Reisen, Partner, APAC Co-Lead Analytics, Operations and Performance of Kearney. Mr. Luther Khan, KPMG China Deal Strategy Partner, and Mr. Carlo D'Andrea, Vice President of the European Union Chamber of Commerce in China. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Mr. Yu, let me start with you. You're based in Shanghai. Well, the past few months must have been pretty challenging for you and your employees. So like many other multinational companies either from the US or European countries, they thrive in China, they get stronger in China despite of all the headwinds that they faced over the past decades. So what did you and your company do to come up with solutions to cope with the COVID restrictions and to continue to grow and thrive?
Yes, many years ago, we introduced a policy or a strategy called the local for local or East for East. So this means the products, so offering we deliver to China, not only manufactured in China, sourced in China, but also developed in China. Second is we have a very strong supply base here in China. They meet our requirement no matter what happened in the market, what happened in COVID-19. The third reason is we follow the growth. Within the last few years, we find out there are several very good opportunities in the vertical markets, like the energy, like sustainability, like digitalization, like life science, and also emerging mass market. So we grow after these opportunities.
And let me go to Mr. Reisen from Kearney. So China is jump-starting an economic recovery now with policy support being rolled out nationwide. What Kearney China plans to make out of this recovery momentum?
China at the moment is certainly recovering very strongly. As that starts to subside, we're really refocusing on our clients. 70% of our clients are actually domestic in China, and really helping them sort of really recover and start to get their operations and their supply chains in particular, making their supply chains more resilient as time goes forward.
Mr. Khan from KPMG, I wonder, what about the slew of supporting policies that's being introduced nationwide in the past few weeks? Are they truly helpful to businesses, especially to foreign businesses? What are you hearing from your clients?
Yeah, definitely. Those policy and the incentive do help the client, and also especially the supply chain risks. I think most of our clients still see positive growth in the second half of the 2022, and especially from the industrial manufacturing, from the new vehicle, new energy vehicle, high-end technology, and also from the utility and the mining perspective. Those kind of sectors quite have the strong growth momentum.
And I wonder, Mr. D'Andrea, what are you hearing from your fellow European businessmen? What kind of support do you think that they need the most at this moment?
I'm really happy to hear the optimism in the room today. And we have seen that our members, they see China as an important market. 1.4 billion people. There is not a second China. So they are here because it's one of the most important economy of the world.
Mr. Yu, China is aiming to improve its industrial power on intelligent manufacturing and industrial digitalization. We would expect companies like Honeywell to continue to make a great contribution to that goal. Which ones do you think would be the most promising ones to bear fruit beyond market expectations?
So one is the digitalization. Another piece is related with sustainability. More and more companies, they try to introduce technology, leverage big data, connected, cloud, all these AI, try to introduce into their operation and also try to introduce it to serve their customers. The second piece is sustainability. China will reach carbon peak in 2030 and neutrality in 2060. This is a big commitment against the climate change. We also set up Honeywell China low carbon centers, and we will leverage this platform and use our technologies to understand Chinese customers' requirement and modify technology, and more important, develop related technology here in China to serve China.
Does it mean that China, to Honeywell, other than being a big market, is now also a source of innovation?
China is already the second largest market for Honeywell and the biggest growth market in China total portfolio. 2003, we set up Asia Pacific headquarters here in Shanghai. And following this, in 2004, we set up the biggest R&D center in Asia Pacific in Shanghai. In 2016, we invest $100 million in Shanghai to expand our headquarters and more important, to strengthen our R&D centers. Every year, we launch over 100 new products developed here in China, have the patent in China for Chinese market. But also we take these technologies and offerings not only to serve Chinese customers, but also bring to the rest of the world. China is already the source of innovation in Honeywell. China will play a bigger role related with innovation. Not only do the business here, but also innovation here.
I would like to go to Mr. Risen now. For Kearney, you talked about how 70% of Kearney China's business is actually contributed by Chinese domestic clients. What does this tell us about the country's business dynamics over the past decades, how it has evolved?
China has become a consumption economy. It's gone from being a largely export economy. It now has an internal consumption of 1.4 trillion, up 17 times from, I think 2006. We're looking to our local clients, helping them actually re-engineer their products. In fact, Kearney has an offering called Pearl Labs, which is product excellence re-engineered. And we have one in the US, and we opened our second office in Shanghai to serve our local customers. So innovation is certainly at the top of the agenda for our clients, and helping them sort of move forward in that sense, not just for the export economy, but actually to make better products for the local Chinese economy, which is now very significant. As a country, it now represents 18% of global GDP. Just the scale in China now, both from world-class universities, the students coming out, which is again a source of talent for us, And that world-class talent is really helping drive the innovation in another level simply because of its scale and its quality.
China has moved its economy away from exports and heavy investment by reforming its economic structure and upgrading its consumption. Over the past few years, consumption has become the biggest driver for the country's development, with total retail sales contributing 65.4% to China's 2021 economic growth. China's consumption sector is recovering quickly despite the COVID-19 outbreaks this year. China's retail sales grew 3.1% in June. And let me go to Mr. Kang from KPMG. So in your recent report, you said that the growth driver in the Chinese economy will be shifting from external to internal. Can you elaborate more on this, please? And how can foreign businesses better seize these opportunities?
What we see in the future is more a balanced way or more growth by the internal factor, including the biggest factor from the domestic consumption and also the industrial production investment. Those are two the important factors while driving the future growth from the internal perspective. And we see the positive sentiment, especially for the industrial production investment in the first half of 2022, although facing the COVID challenge. But still, the investment amount in the industrial production is growing in a speed way. And it's also driven by the technology innovation, and also Chinese enterprise want to move up a value chain through those investment. They create more and more, not only for the biggest demand market for multinational products, but also for technology alliance and joint venture to tackle more business opportunity in China. And also in the retail front, the consumption upgrade from the domestic householder will also give more multinational retailer and consumer goods company the business opportunity to diversify their business.
Coming up next, in what directions will the future development of the Chinese market go?
Build up strong ambition for the digital transformation to adapt ever-evolving environment and keep the competitiveness.
Technology localized here in China to meet the customer requirements for growth and environmental friendly.
.360-degree profiles of industry movers and shakers, tech mavericks, and policymakers. We drill down on their success. We ask how they set strategy and how they navigate in an increasingly competitive market. Real talk, real business. Join the conversation. BizTalk, only on CGTN.
The rewards of staying the course and navigating the storm are plain to see. This is what the European Chamber of Commerce concluded in its 2022 Business Confidence Survey. 37% of the members surveyed increased their joint venture shares and are seeking wider market access in China. Not only is there a market of 1.4 billion consumers in China, but the country is also home to the world's leading manufacturing hubs and a vibrant innovation ecosystem. The world's largest middle-class population means consistent demand in China. This market, therefore, still has a great deal of potential for multinationals. And Mr. Dandria, so the key findings from your latest China Business Confidence Survey is higher risks and high rewards. What about this year? If you've done a survey now, how do you think that result will be different?
Over 40% of our members believes that China is more innovative compared to other peer global standards. But indeed, the challenges on the IPR protection are still there. The legal framework, they are getting improved, but the enforcement of the protection on IPR still need to be reassured at international level. That I want to emphasize is the support to the small, medium enterprises. Small, medium enterprises at the moment are the ones that suffer the most of the pandemic and the related lockdown. These more or less are the state of art.
So you need more policy support, especially for smaller businesses from Europe to restore business confidence in China. We hear that. And China wants to restart its economic activities now, a post-pandemic, let's call it a second round of rebound. China wants economic growth, also wants quality growth. And as Mr. Yu mentioned, China will stick with its dual carbon goals. And I wonder, Mr. Khan, for KPMG China, how do you think your company's strategy would fit into China's dual carbon goals and digitalization process?
In last year, we unveiled our impact plan to drive the sustainable change for our organization. So in China, we also see the increasing attention on ESG, especially both from the PE investor, but also the corporate, including the Chinese enterprise. Second also is related to the digitalization. In China, we also see more and more challenge from the cost pressure, from the raw material price inflation, energy price, supply chain uncertainty, and also the labor cost, which eventually impact the business profitability and sustainability. Our client also need a more agile and efficient operating model to adapt those ever-evolving environment and keep the competitiveness. So digital transformation will play an important role to achieve the lean and agile operating model and also operation efficiency. And we also build up strong ambition for the digital transformation, not only by ourselves, but also partner with our local China digital ecosystem. Both two topics is quite important for China, for our client, and also for our growth business in China.
So speaking of sustainability, I should go to Mr. Yu because Honeywell is a high-tech enterprise that has been rooted in China for many years. What opportunities does Honeywell see in China's prospects, especially in energy conservation and low-carbon development?
Honeywell do see this as a huge opportunities. We see the strong demand. Customer looking for the smart and energy efficient solutions. And we work with our partners, work with airline companies. We also have we call the green jet fuel. It can reduce the greenhouse gas emission by 65 to 85%. Now there's another very good thing is low global warming potential materials. It's for refrigerant. So Honeywell do have solutions like environment-friendly refrigerant, which could be used for e-vehicles. At the same time, so how we could use this technology localized here in China to meet the customer requirements for both growth, for and also environmental friendly. So Honeywell as a leading technology companies, we are committed here in China and use our technologies to customize it, to innovate it here in China, for China.
Interesting. And the environmental friendly refrigerator. I thought that would be a cold shower outdoors. Let me go to Mr. D'Andrea. So one of the other interesting findings from your business confidence survey is one that says that China has been viewed as a thriving research and development hub by many European businesses. What are the attractions?
The size of the market, because it's interesting that the 1.4 billion potential consumer. Another point of view is the importance that the innovation, the ecosystem that China are building up on the R&D and the subsidies they are providing. As I mentioned in our business conference survey, over 40% that our respondents said the China ecosystem is quite innovative, if not even more to other related markets. Indeed, the research and development in China is something important because our members are in China for the Chinese market. Important that to have a melting pot of engineers coming from different parts of the world here in China in order to foster innovation. And in fact, we are not surprised that Shenzhen is one of the most innovative cities of China because it's one of the cities which collect many citizens coming from different parts of China and of the world.
Coming up next, Putting China on the global economy map, where would it stand?
It's been playing a significant role as part of the G20. It's really helped stabilize growth in the region.
The Chinese market has proven attractive to multinationals, but how to keep it that way?
China needs to continue the path of reform.
The world economy as we know it is about to change. Global business reports highlight emerging markets, developing countries, and dynamic sectors worldwide. We feature top analysts and newsmakers to provide perspectives on every facet of business. From an on-the-ground perspective, we provide you with balanced and objective assessments. Fast, sharp, and insightful. Global Business, only on CGTN.
I want to go back to Mr. Risen. So let's talk about China's connection with the world economy. So amid complicated global relations, how would you position China in the APEC region's economic spectrum?
You know, I think China's role, you are a significant consumption economy. And so therefore, you are seen by other Asian countries as an export market for them. So they look at China as an opportunity, as does the rest of the world. Further to that, it's been playing a significant role as part of the G20. It's adopted some of the G20 requirements, and it's really helped stabilize growth in the region. And I think, that's been a very important role for China in APAC. It's certainly looking to improve its openness and its stability and helping sort of, as a supplier of goods and services, stabilize those supply chains. China has always been an important source, but equally the investments that China has made in region to offer other sources of supply from other countries like Vietnam and Thailand is equally helping the global economy. And again, China's certainly introduced new measures which has helped strengthen the international trade, providing greater confidence in the international community.
And Mr. Yu, so looking ahead, how is China positioned in Honeywell's future growth target?
We are pleased to continue our role as the leading technologies to bring some value and contribute to China high quality and sustainable development. So this is also the reason at the beginning of 2020, we set up a company, an innovation center in Wuhan to serve the mass mid segment. In last year, we set up a company in Xi'an and also innovation center in Xi'an related with our smart building business. And we also invest and set up an innovation company in Tianjin for smart manufacturing, try to leverage our technologies to serve Chinese customers. A very important takeaway from the test of the pandemics, that is companies should seek innovation that really work for people, not only for companies, for business, which is important, but they really could have innovation for the people, innovations that are more affordable.
Mr. Khan, so China is facing challenges not only from the COVID pandemic, but like many other countries in the world, we're faced with complicated global relations, geopolitical tensions, inflation risks, rising commodity prices, even grain securities. So what is KPMG's perspective on China's role in the global economy going forward? And what is your outlook for China's economic growth for the second half of 2022?
In the past, China is the biggest consumption market in most of the sector, and also one of the biggest supply market as well in the same time. In future, I think the value chain upgrade in the industrial manufacturing area will play a more important role for China, which require more openness to multinational company as well. Second, if I look at the ODI, the China investment to the overseas market, I also see the big improvement area for China to play more and more. In the past, China export more products manufacturing from China export to overseas market, let the advanced product to the overseas countries could be another important role for China to play. For the second half of this year economic growth, I believe compared with the downward pressure, especially in Q2, I see the second half can be improved in many perspectives. One is from the industrial production investment perspective, and also we see the advanced policy in place in the infrastructure investment as well that will incentive the domestic economy as well. From the retail perspective, we still see a moderate growth, which need more measures from the government to incentive the local consumer to spend more rather than saving more under the current soft economy. So I think the biggest factor will impact the second half is really on the investment and also on the consumption area.
To maintain the stability of the global industrial and supply chains, China has pledged to continue taking concrete action to promote trade liberalization and multilateralism. The recently concluded second China International Consumer Products Expo in Hainan provided a good chance to demonstrate a clear recovery in consumer spending. With more than 1,600 brands from 61 countries and regions participating in the event, the Hainan Expo showcased China's determination to continuously open up to international players and jointly develop the country's market. My final question to all of you, let's start with Mr. Dandria. Is the China market still attractive for European businesses?
China is indeed attractive for European companies. China needs to continue the path of reform, shall have a clear roadmap, shall speed it up the opening up of the market restricted sector, and indeed shall have a better policy related the travel restriction that shall wind up and shall increase the number of international flights.
Let's go to Mr. Risen. So what is the biggest attraction of the China market?
I think the growth of the domestic economy and the growth of companies in China, manufacturing for China, continue to be highly attractive for us. The strength of investor property rights, mean that foreign direct investment will continue to pour into China. And with that, that's an opportunity for us as a firm to provide advice to both the MNCs and the local companies.
And Mr. Kang?
We do have a strong momentum for our Chinese business growth, which already see in the first half, we achieve double-digit growth still under the challenging environment. So we still plan to expand our office network and also local talent acquisition in the next 3 years as well.
And finally, what is most attractive about China to Honeywell, Mr. Yu?
One is the size of the opportunity, the size of the market here in China. There's so many opportunities, so many availability for different kinds of material, components, and the products. This really help us to source the parts, source the product here in China. The third reason is the talent. The source of the talent. Every year, 10 million people graduate from universities. This is no any country has so many qualified talent, and not only the numbers but also the quality.
Now, gentlemen, thank you so much. Let's bear in mind that the Chinese government has vowed to keep ramping up support for major projects invested by foreign companies and help to address difficulties that they face. So thank you so much for your time today. And with that, I'm wrapping up this special edition. And please stay tuned for more to come here on CGTN. I'm Lily Lu. Bye for now.